Welcome students to Adenda's channel. In the previous video, we discussed about aerobic respiration. Your response to that video was overwhelming. So in the second part of the video, we'll be discussing about anaerobic respiration. So I recommend you that you watch the video till the end because I'll be discussing about anaerobic respiration in detail, which organisms perform anaerobic respiration and why is anaerobic respiration important for the body. Also, I'll be discussing about amino acids and vitamins in the end, so I recommend you that you watch the video till the end. Let's get started. So what are we learning about? We're learning about anaerobic respiration. Before that, let's go through a quick recap of aerobic respiration. So what we saw in aerobic respiration, that glucose breaks down into pyruvic acid, and pyruvic acid, it further is converted into acetyl coenzyme A. Acetyl coenzyme A to the Krebs cycle, it goes to the Krebs cycle process, and from there you get energy. A lengthy process, but ultimately you get 38 ATP molecules of energy, right? But what happens in anaerobic respiration? Anaerobic respiration, the process is just the same but with a slight change. In anaerobic respiration, glucose is not completely oxidized. What does that mean? Glucose is not completely broken in anaerobic respiration. So which organisms perform anaerobic respiration? So glucose undergoes the process of conversion into pyruvic acid, and then pyruvic acid is not converted to acetyl coenzyme A, but instead it gets converted to lactic acid or alcohol. Lactic acid, organic acid or alcohol. So in anaerobic respiration, glucose breaks down into pyruvic acid, lactic acid or alcohol. Let's go to the next PPT. In this PPT, we see a man working out. Let's figure out. We'll be learning about energy production in microorganisms through anaerobic respiration. So what exactly is anaerobic respiration? Anaerobic respiration in simple terms is respiration in absence of oxygen. The organisms which perform respirations in absence of oxygen, simple as that. Okay, so some organisms cannot live in presence of oxygen. For example, many bacteria. Some bacteria which cannot live in presence of oxygen, hence they perform anaerobic respiration. Okay. Glycolysis and fermentation are two steps of anaerobic respiration. Glycolysis step we saw in the previous video, that glycolysis is a very simple process, and fermentation, let's learn about fermentation. As we saw in the previous PPT, how pyruvic acid is produced. So pyruvic acid produced through glycolysis is converted into other organic acids or alcohol with the help of some enzymes in this process, and this process is called as fermentation. I'll explain what is fermentation. Simple process. Glucose breaks down into pyruvic acid breaks down into lactic acid or alcohol. This process is called as fermentation or can be called as anaerobic respiration. Which organisms perform anaerobic respiration? Does the body perform anaerobic respiration or aerobic respiration? And if it is performing anaerobic respiration, then when does it perform anaerobic respiration? Let me know in the comments. One more question for you students. Which organisms perform anaerobic respiration? Any examples you know? Let me know in the comments. So let's go to a quick note. The examples of anaerobic respiration. Seeds perform anaerobic respiration if the soil is submerged under water during seed germination. Mussels also perform anaerobic respiration while performing exercise. Now let me explain this to you. Okay? When you're working out or when you are running or when you're playing a football match, you get tired immediately, right? So your body requires energy. Your body will not go through the long process of aerobic respiration, conversion of glucose to pyruvic acid, then acetyl coenzyme, then breaking it down, then going to etc, and then giving you energy. It's a very long process. Okay, you get 38 ATP molecules in that process, no problem, but it's a very long process. But the need of the hour is that your body requires immediate and fast energy. So what does your body do? Your body goes to a shortcut method of anaerobic respiration. Okay, so in anaerobic respiration you get how much amount of energy? You get only 2 ATP molecules, Okay, so because less amount of energy is produced in our body, and hence lactic acid accumulates in the body. Okay, so when you're working out, so when you are playing or when you're running, lactic acid accumulates in your body and hence you feel tired. Lactic acid is not good for your body and hence you feel tired. Next slide. We'll be learning about energy from different food components. So which are the main source of energy which are required in our body? Carbohydrates, fats and lipids. You guys are completely correct. So what exactly we'll be learning about them? We'll be learning about their sources, what use they have in our body, and if excess of carbohydrates, fats and lipids are there in our body, where is it stored? Excess of carbohydrates, fats and lipids. So three different things we'll be learning about: source, use and where is the excess of them stored. Okay, so before starting with this, I recommend you that you please subscribe to my channel, because I bring amazing content for free on this channel. So let's get started. We get 4 kilocalorie energy from per gram of carbohydrates, and source of carbohydrates are milk, fruits, jaggery, cane sugar, vegetables, potatoes, rice, maize and wheat. The point here to be noted is we get dash kilocalorie of energy from carbohydrates, we get 4 kilocalorie of energy from carbohydrates. Very important. Fill in the blank from board's point of view. We have 3 similar fill in the blanks based on carbohydrates, fats and lipids. Okay, now let's look at a note over here. What does the note say? Excess of carbohydrates, where are they stored? This is also very important. Can be asked for MCQs as well. Excess of carbohydrates are stored in liver and muscles in the form of glycogen. In the form of what? In the form of glycogen. Clear on the students? Okay. Now we move to the next slide. The proteins part. Proteins part are very important. Proteins are very essential macromolecules required in our body. So from per gram of protein we get 4 kilocalorie of energy. For per gram protein we get 4 kilocalorie of energy. Matlab this is similar to the carbohydrates part. Carbohydrates say we get 4 kilocalorie, and from proteins also we are getting 4 kilocalorie of energy. So what are the sources of proteins? Eggs, milk, paneer, chicken and fish. Okay. Now where is the excess of protein stored? The excess of proteins are stored. They are not stored in the body. Excess of amino acids obtained from proteins are not stored in the body. Very important to know, because excess of proteins, if it is stored in the body, it is harmful for the body. Okay, they are broken down and the ammonia formed is eliminated out of the body. If necessary, excess of proteins are converted to other substances like glucose through the process of gluconeogenesis. That's it. So what conclusion we get from this? That protein is harmful for the body. Excess of protein is harmful for the body, but in moderated amount, protein is very helpful for your body and plays a very essential role in the body. Excess of protein is eliminated in the form of ammonia. Okay. Now what exactly is protein? We'll be learning about proteins in detail. So what are proteins? Proteins are macromolecules formed by bonding together many amino acids. Let me break down this for you. Macromolecules are molecules which are required in our body in large quantities, and we'll be also discussing about micromolecules, and micromolecules are those molecules which are required in our body in trace amounts or in small amounts. They are very essential for the body. Okay, micromolecules are also essential and macromolecules are also essential. Macro means they are required in our body in large quantities, and micro in small quantities. So protein is a macromolecule which is formed by bonding together many amino acids. Many amino acids are joined to each other and they form a protein molecule. Okay, so proteins of animal origin are called as first class protein. Remember this: meat, chicken, all animal origin. Okay, those are called as first class proteins, and the other protein which is derived from other products, those are called as second class proteins. Simple. Now protein amino acids are obtained after digestion of proteins. So when proteins break down, you will get amino acids. Okay, those amino acids are absorbed in the blood and transported up to each organ and cell via blood. Okay, now what role actually amino acids play in our body? This chart besides you is very important. This chart basically comes for boards. Okay, they'll be giving you 4 columns to fill. Give the uses of amino acids. So very important to know. So amino acid is required for skin, melanin or keratin. So melanin is what? Melanin is nothing but the component which gives your skin color, and keratin is the one which gives strength to your hair. Okay, now then it is required in bones in the form of osin. It is required in various proteins of cells membrane, various enzymes. It is required in pancreas to make insulin. Insulin is what? Insulin is a hormone which is required to control sugar level. Okay, so the person who suffers from diabetes, he has problems with insulin levels. So also you have pituitary gland. It is responsible for various hormones production, like trypsin is one of them. Then you come to muscles. It is required for actin and myosin, which makes flexible proteins. Now it is also required for production of hemoglobin. What is hemoglobin? Hemoglobin is the part to which oxygen binds, and it is the component in the blood which actually carries oxygen, if you didn't know. Okay, so amino acids, you see amino acids plays a very important role in our body, and hence ultimately proteins play a very important role in our body. Okay, so this is very important. Now we move to the next part, that is, so we'll be learning about lipids. So basically what are lipids and from where do we obtain lipids? Okay, to break down lipids for you, lipids word you maybe it may be a new word for you, but it's a very simple word. To understand lipids, you have to understand about fats. Lipids basically means fats. So what exactly are lipids? The substances formed by specific chemical bond between fatty acids and alcohol are called as lipids. So example of lipids, if I were to give you, maybe cheese, butter, ghee, the products made from them, they all come in lipids category. So okay, so lipids के बारे में हम लोग कहोगे. The digestion of lipids consumed by us is nothing but the conversion into fatty acids and alcohol. That's it, nothing more. So lipids are nothing but fatty substances. From those fatty acids, different cells produce various substances necessary to themselves. Besides fatty acids, very important. This point is very important. Besides fatty acids are used for producing hormones like progesterone, estrogen, testosterone, aldosterone, etc., and the covering around the axons of nerve cells. So I'll be discussing about testosterone hormone, estrogen hormone when we'll be discussing life processor and living organisms part 2, that is the third lesson of science 2. During that time I'll be discussing about testosterone and estrogen hormone in detail. And how much amount of energy we get from lipids? We get 9 kilocalorie of energy per gram of lipids. Remember this, we get how much amount of energy? We get 9 kilocalorie. So you see, from fats we get 9 kilocalorie, and from proteins we get 4 kilocalorie, and from carbohydrates we get 4 kilocalorie again. Question for you. Tell me, where is excess of fats stored in the body? I'll give you one example. That excess of fats is stored near the belly region. The other examples of where is fat stored in the body, you may tell me in the comments. I will reply to each comments. Okay. Now let's know which exactly is the tissue which stores lipids or fats. Okay. So a quick note for you. Understand this. Excess of lipids are stored in adipose connective tissue in the body. Okay, in which tissue? In adipose connective tissue in the body. So where is adipose connective tissue found? Adipose connective tissue is found just below your skin. So just below your skin is the area where lipids are found, right? And we're discussing about vitamins. As we discussed earlier about micromolecules. Micromolecules are those molecules which are required in your body in trace amounts, and one of the example is vitamins and minerals. So vitamins are a group of heterogeneous compounds of which each is essential for proper operation of various processes in the body. How many types of vitamins are there? There are 6 types of vitamins. Vitamin A, vitamin B, vitamin C, vitamin D, vitamin E, and vitamin K. Okay, there are 6 main types of vitamins. That does not mean that there are not other vitamins as well. There are other vitamins do exist, but those vitamins which exist, those are nothing but subcategories of the 6 main vitamins. Okay, now to understand this, I will be displaying my note. Okay, now I need to classify the all 6 vitamins into fat soluble and water soluble categories. So what does fat soluble mean, sir? Fat soluble means the vitamins which dissolve in fats, and water soluble means which dissolve in water. Okay, so how do you remember them? Understand, B and C are water soluble and A, D, E and K are fat soluble. Simple to remember. B, C water soluble, A, D, E and K are fat soluble. So we come to the third point. Riboflavin, also called as vitamin B2, is required for FADH2 production. You saw a subcategory of vitamin B as I discussed earlier, and nicotinamide vitamin B5 is required for NADH2 production. Simple to remember, students. Okay, so I'll be closing my note and we come to the next slide, that is water. How important is water for our body? Our body consists of 65% to 70% water. Each cell contains 70% water by weight. Blood plasma also contains 90% water by weight. That means your blood contains, or our blood contains 90% water by weight. So you see how important is water in our body. So what do we conclude from this is drink lots of water. Okay. Then we come to the next part, it is fibers. Fibers are also essential nutrients But the fact is we cannot digest the fibers. So what is the use of fibers then? However, they help in the digestion of other substances and evasion of undigested substances. So fibers are very important for formation of stools in the body, okay, and it helps in the process of excretion. We obtain the fibers from leafy vegetables, fruits and cereals. Students, I hope you like the video, and if you like the video, I recommend you that you please subscribe to the channel, because there are many more such amazing content coming on their way, in which I'll be discussing about mitosis, meiosis in detail. Such questions carry 5 marks each. So if you don't want to miss such amazing content, I will recommend you that you please press the red button which is below the video, and you also share this video to at least 4 other friends you know or other students you know who are studying during the lockdown or the period after. Thank you students, I take your leave. Stay healthy, stay safe.